Divine Justice, written by David Baldacci, read by Ron Mclarty. The Chesapeake Bay is America's largest estuary. Nearly 200 miles long, its watershed covers an area of 65,000 utopian square miles, with more than 150 rivers and streams barreling into it. Oliver Stone cracked the surface of the water and gulped in the thick, salty air, a thirsty man in the center of a trillion-ton ocean. He stripped off his waterlogged pants, shirt, and shoes, and then kicked off swimming east. He didn't have much time to get this done. 20 minutes later, he cut toward shore, all four limbs cement. He used to be able to swim all day, but he wasn't 20 anymore. Hell, he wasn't even 50 anymore. Now he just wanted land. He was tired of impersonating a fish. He pointed himself at a cleft in the rock and shot toward it. He slogged free of the breakers and high-stepped to firm ground. He jogged toward a large boulder and snagged the cloth bag he'd previously hidden. Tugging off his wetsuit, he toweled dry and changed into fresh clothes and a pair of tennis shoes. The sodden articles were pushed into the bag, tied to a rock, and hurled into the storm-swept bay, where they joined his decades-old sniper rifle in long-range scope. He was officially retired from the killing profession. Stone carefully picked his way up the rocky path to a dirt trail. 10 minutes later, he reached a fringe of woods where shallow-rooted pines leaned away from the punishing sea wind. A 20-minute jog after that carried him to the batch of ramshackle buildings, most closer to falling down than not. The cloud-encrusted light was just beginning to topple the darkness as he slid through the window of the smallest hut. He checked his watch. He had 10 minutes at most. Already dog-tired, he once more pulled off his clothes, then slipped into the tiny shower with rusted piping that only delivered a thin stream of lukewarm water, like a fountain on its last dying spurt. Stone was listening for the knock on the door. It came as he was dressing. "Hey, man, you ready?" called the voice. In answer, Stone smacked one hand hard against the ragged plank floor as he slipped on his shoes, shrugged into a frayed coat, tugged a John Deere cap low over his head, and put on his thick glasses. He ran a hand over the bristly gray beard he'd grown over the past 6 months, then opened the door and nodded at the short, squat man facing him. The fellow had a beer keg frame and a lazy right eye, along with teeth yellowed by too many Winstons and double-pop Maxwell House coffees. This was clearly not cafe latte land. The top of his head was covered by a Green Bay Packers knit cap. "Cold one this morning," the man said, rubbing his chunky nose and slipping a lit cigarette from between his lips. Stone nodded as his bearded face drooped and his normally attentive eyes grew vacant behind the smudged lenses. As he walked behind the other man, Stone's left leg bent outward with a chicken wing limp that stooped him into being several inches shorter. They were loading an old banged-up, bald-tired Ford F-150 with firewood when the police car and black sedans slid into the driveway, propelling pebbly gravel in all directions like fired BBs. The trim-muscled men who climbed out of the rides wore blue slickers with FBI stenciled on the back in gold lettering, and pistols with 14-round clips in their belt holsters. 3 of them walked up to Stone and his buddy, while a chubby uniformed sheriff with polished black boots and a Stetson hustled to catch up. "What's the deal, Virgil?" Green Bay asked the uniform. One of the FBI slickers snapped, "Let me see some ID." Leroy quickly slid a thin wallet out of his bib's pocket and handed over his license. While one of the agents punched the number into a handheld computer he'd slipped from his windbreaker, another agent held out his hand to Stone. Stone didn't move. He just stared back with a vacuous expression, his lips gumming and his bum leg doing an exaggerated deep knee bend. He looked confused, which was all part of the act. "He ain't got no license," Leroy said. "He ain't got nothing of nothing. Hell, can't even talk. Just grunts." The FBI agents closed around Stone.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?